Hey everybody, how you doing? This is Robert Hollis Jr. here. I wanted to make this video today, and I know it might be a little controversial because if you saw the tagline, basically said you are where you are because you chose to be there. And like I said, this might be a little controversial, so please leave your comments, leave your feedback. I'd love to hear from you guys. But the reason why I made this video is I recently got approached with somebody that I work with. And she very simply said to me is that, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I'm worthy. I don't know if I have the skills to do this. And I basically said, you're right. And she looked at me funny, and I, a quote from Henry Ford, whether you think you can or you think you can't, either way, you're absolutely right. Now, when I say that the reason where you're at today is because you chose to be there, is because the only thing that really sets anybody apart, ladies and gentlemen, the only thing that makes me different from you or a champion different from a loser is because they chose to be. See, my opinion is nobody is born great. Nobody is born with quote-unquote God-gifted abilities. They chose to have them. If you look at people like Tiger Woods, he was at 9 years old on Letterman chipping and putting. He was practicing since he was 9. You look at people like Kobe, where he shows up to practice at 4 in the morning and practices for 4 hours till 8 when the rest of the people show up. They chose that situation. They chose to be successful. And when I normally say this to people immediately, the response I get is, you don't understand my story. You don't understand what's happened to me. I didn't choose this. It just happened to me. Well, I understand. I totally understand. Nobody chooses to be in a bad car accident and end up in a wheelchair. Nobody chooses to lose a loved one. But it's your decision from that moment forward to make the rest of the choices for your life. Honestly. Nick Vujicek, sorry if I pronounce his name wrong, but he's the guy that was born with no arms and no legs. And I have people all the time say, well, you don't understand because I got in an accident. And I understand I'm kind of coming from a bad place there. I do have sympathy for those people, and I do feel bad for those situations. But yet when somebody blames all the negative things in their life and their bad situation on an environment, person, or situation that got them there, you're destined to be stuck there. Because you look at Nick Vujicek, this guy was born with no arms, no legs. And now he travels the world doing motivational speeches and inspiring people to become great. He ended up marrying a beautiful woman and now has a child. Somebody that you could look at with no arms and no legs and basically write off, saying they'll never be successful, they're never going to go anywhere. What's your excuse? Maybe you didn't choose to have an ailment, and I understand. But now it's up to you to decide to make the decisions to make a difference in the world. Regardless how you feel about this, Lance Armstrong, diagnosed with cancer. They told him, listen, you might as well give up. You're never going to race again. You're never going to be a cyclist again. And he said, no, I'm going to choose to fight this, whether I win or lose. Now he's got the Livestrong Foundation where they raise money to help fight cancer and help raise awareness because of one person making a decision that he wasn't going to give up. You always hear those stories of people that they say it's a miracle because somebody wakes up and they say, no, you'll never walk again. You can say, okay, yeah, fine. Or the few people that make the decision that say, no, I will walk again. And then they call it a miracle. Another one I love using an example of, and once again, I'm not saying all this stuff to say that, quit being miserable and quit being down on yourself. I understand, being in a threatening accident or losing a loved one or being diagnosed with an ailment is a very serious situation, and I pray to God that nobody will experience that, or if you have, that hopefully you're making the decisions to go forward. My only point to this is you have a decision to make the best of every situation. I love the story of Buster Douglas. Here's a guy that, told his father that one day I'm going to beat Mike Tyson. At the time Mike Tyson was invincible. Nobody could beat this guy. And I believe it was like a few days before he was finally got a shot to fight Mike Tyson. His father passed away. Now, I understand it's a crippling situation. If I lost my father, I don't know what I'd do. I'd probably be crying in a room for weeks on end. And I'm kind of laughing at the end because I don't want to get emotional, but I understand that's a loss. But there's also some people that could take a loss like that in their life and have that cripple them for the rest of their life because they chose to. Or people like Buster Douglas that said, listen, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to do it for my father. I told him I would. I told him I'd be great. And he went out there and took Tyson out when nobody else thought he could. So instead of using his father's passing away as a reason to not be successful, it fueled him to become successful. So, I just wanted to go off on this and really to go all the way back to why I made this video, coming to the lady that came to me and said, I don't think I can do this. Anybody can become great if you choose to. Anybody can do anything if you choose to. You can choose to be a motivational speaker and empower millions. You can choose to be a humanitarian and change millions of people's lives. You can choose to, start a foundation to raise awareness and save millions of people's lives. There's anything that you can do, but you just have to make a choice to do it. That's the only difference from somebody who's successful, who's not. Somebody who's led a great life, somebody who's not. Somebody who's let their circumstances or their situations hold them down their whole life versus somebody who's not. Whatever you're dealing with right now, ladies and gentlemen, that's holding you back, go on the internet. You can find somebody your age, your ethnicity, your gender that had the same problems that you're going through, but they made a choice to go through and become great on the other side. So I know in closing in this, I just want to tell each and every one of you is I know that you all are great. There's all greatness within us. Each and every one of us. But the only person that can get that is you. And it starts from you making a decision. So I know I got a little passionate on this and I'm coming from my heart, and I hope I didn't offend anybody. I really didn't want to, but I just wanted to throw this video out there. And like I said, please, I love your feedback, your comments, your shares. Thank you guys so much for the support, and have a wonderful and blessed day.